This is the solution video for section 6.5, problem number 6. All right, so the integral of cosine sine over cosine squared minus 1 dx. All right, so there's actually a couple different ways that you could do this. All right, so the first way to do it would be to recognize that if I were to take u here equal to cosine squared x minus 1, then the derivative of u would be what? Well, derivative of cosine squared. Well, that would be 2 times cosine x times the derivative of cosine, which is negative sine x dx. And so that would mean that, well, I have integral of 1 over u, right, because I took the denominator, and then I have cosine x sine x dx, which would mean I would need a negative 2 on the inside, right? So I have a negative 2 on the inside, okay? I have a negative 2 on the inside, so I would need a negative 1/2 on the outside. So I have negative 1/2 integral of 1 over u du. So negative 1/2 integral of 1 over u du. Well, what is the integral of 1 over u? That would be the natural log of the absolute value of u plus c, right? So negative 1/2 natural log of the absolute value of u. But what is u? Well, u is cosine squared x minus 1 plus c, right? So that's what we get by that method. But what would another method be? Well, if we go over here, all right, let's do it a different way. We recognize that the cosine squared x minus 1 is actually equivalent to the opposite of sine squared x, right? Remember that 1 minus cosine squared is positive sine squared, so cosine squared minus 1 would be negative sine squared. All right, and so that means that I would have the integral of cosine x sine x divided by negative sine squared x. All right, so if I have this, I could actually reduce here the signs, and so I'm ending up with negative cosine x over sine x dx. But what is negative cosine over sine? Well, that's actually cotangent. So I have the negative on the outside, and then I have the integral of cotangent x dx. So then you have to think, okay, well, what is the integral of cotangent? So I have negative 1. All right, integral of cotangent is the natural log of the absolute value of what? Well, the integral of cotangent is sine x, right? And then, of course, plus c. So then the question is are these two things equivalent? So what we want to do is we want to realize that the negative out front, I'm going to leave that alone, all right? But I have a 1/2 power. So the 1/2 power can actually be brought in as, the 1/2 coefficient can be brought in as a power. So I could have the negative natural log of the absolute value of the cosine squared x minus 1. All right, but then that quantity, actually, we could put the 1/2 power out here, right? And then, of course, plus c. But as it turns out, let's see, cosine squared minus 1 is negative sine squared, right? So if I put the negative sine squared in there, right, I would get the positive portion because of the absolute value, and then I square root it, I get sine. So the negative natural log of sine of x plus c is equivalent to that.